Yo, what is up guys? I'm back with another mechanic video, and today we're going to cover some aerial car control. I have a lot to talk about today, so go ahead, sit down, grab a drink, food, whatever, and hopefully by the end of this you guys will have a better understanding of how to control your car in the air. But other than that, let's get into the demonstration. Alright you guys, I loaded myself up into free play here. Alright, so the first thing I want to get out of the way guys right now is that basically I want you guys to treat aerial car control, you know, kind of like all this stuff, right? Just put it in the same category as like car control, right? So car control could be many things like wave dashing, you know, flipping around, you know, whatever, right? All that stuff, right? So just your ability to control the car and make it do what you want, right? That's kind of similar to what air car control is, right? It's just your ability to control the car in the air, right? You know, but it's not so much different than, you know, when you're trying to control your car on the ground, right? So whether it's turning or flipping or wave dashing the walls, like, you know, it's in the same category, right? It's just car control, right? But for now, we're just going to focus, at least for this tutorial, on, you know, how to control your car and practice controlling your car in the air, right? Right. All right, so before I start off like too hot here and you know, melt your brains, right? The thing I need you guys to understand with aerial car control or just car control in general, it's just that your end goal for either whatever type of car control you're doing is your goal is to make it so that you do what you want the car to do, right? So when you want to like go for something or do something a certain way, like, you know, you envision it in your head a certain way, right? But then you have to just make it and put it into reality, like, okay, this is what I wanted my car to do, right? But obviously that's easier said than done, and that's why we practice and we work on these things, right? So that we can perform these things to our liking and get what we want, right? Right. So let me show you an example of what I mean by that. So let's say I make a goal for myself, right? Let's say I want to hit the top right of the crossbar over there, right? Or maybe let's just say I want to hit the crossbar in general, right? Like, you know, let's just say I want to aerial for it, right? So I'm going to be like, okay, I have a goal in mind. I want to hit the crossbar. Where on the crossbar doesn't matter, but that's going to be my goal for now, right? I'm going to go from here. I'm going to try and, you know, aerial to the crossbar, right? So, you know, you're just challenging yourself, giving yourself goals, and basically just trying to see like how well you can make those things happen through practice, repetition, you know, whatever, right? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna try and hit the crossbar. All right, so hopefully you guys kind of see what I mean by that. By like, I set an intention and then I made that intention a reality, and then you know, just practice that kind of thing. All right, let's do that one more time, except now instead of just hitting the crossbar just in general, now I'm going to go for that top right bit of the corner right there. I'm going to try and hit the top right of the crossbar there. So when you guys are just first starting out, right, this is a pretty good drill, like even just for beginners, to just try and go from one side of the goal to the next and just kind of just set a goal. Like, hey, I want to hit, you know, right there or right over there, you know, like just name a spot and just try and hit it, right? That's usually a good first drill. All right, so I'm going to make it my goal to hit the top left of the crossbar, and I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it. So basically here, guys, right, you don't have to, it's not necessarily about how fast you're going. It's just about, you know, having a good feel of like, okay, do I feel like I'm controlling my car? Like, do you actually feel like you have control of the car, right? That's kind of like what you need to ask yourself. It's not like how fast you're going, but like, do you feel like you know, you can control the car and, you know, move it where you want to? All right, so check it here, guys, right? So I've got another drill you could try, and I'm going to try and explain a little bit, right? But this is another, like, probably even better than the other drill of how you could work on your aerial car control. And now I'm going to start, you know, showing you guys a couple more concepts here, right? And just getting a little deeper into aerial car control. All right, so the second drill, it's pretty simple. All you have to do pretty much is just go ahead, get yourself airborne, right? And just make sure that the ball hasn't moved from spawn, right? So as long as the ball hasn't moved from the spawn and you just leave your ball cam on, right? Then, you know, this is the second drill where the ball is sitting in the middle, right? Right? And then we're trying to like basically just circle around it pretty much. So the second drill is just where you do this, right? So the ball comes on, the ball's at the spawn, and now we're going to try and, you know, I forgot what these are called, what the name of them are, but, you know, basically just flying around the ball in a circle, right? So, if you guys will find here, right? So, if I don't move my stick at all, right? So, if I don't use any air roll or anything like that, so as you circle around the ball, right? What'll end up happening is you'll end up seeing different sides of the car, right? So, as I slowly but surely move around the ball and circle around, right? I start to see different parts of the car, right? So, I'll start to see, right now, this is the top side, right? And then as I move over a little bit more, now we're a bit more sideways, right? Now I can see the sideways bit of the car, right? Move it more, and okay, now I can see the bottom, right? So all you guys need to really understand is that with aerial car control, right? You're playing in a 3D space, right? I mean, Rocket League's always been a 3D space, but you guys, you see what I mean though? Like, it's a 3D car, and you can move your car in 360 degrees. Right? Because it's a, you know, it's a box, but you can rotate the box, right? So that's like that's just one like thing that you guys need to understand, right? Is that your car, it's a box and it rotates, right? So if you can get comfortable with like the different sides of the box, right, and just controlling the car from all the different sides, right? Then that's kind of like a starting point, right? Of just starting to begin to understand, okay, what is our aerial car control, and like, all right, what should I be focusing on, right? All right, and what's gonna happen eventually over time as you guys start to do these drills, right, is you'll start to encounter what we call blackout moments, right? So you'll be going, you'll jump, you'll start aerialing, right, and run the ball, and somewhere around, you know, somewhere, right, you're like, okay, I can kind of control it, and then somewhere in the process, you're like, oh no, and then your brain will just turn off. You're like, okay, wait, I don't know what to do here, right? And you know, you get, I'm gonna fake it a little bit because I'm really good at this, but you know, might look something like that, right? And then boom, you hit the ground, right? So that's called a blackout moment. So that means, all that means, right? Let me explain. So all a blackout moment is it's basically just a disconnect from your hands and your brain, right? Because the way when the car moves and the box rotates in the air, the movements required on your stick change. So you basically are just breaking in new movements of like, okay, well, if I want to keep the car afloat, I need to, like, I have to move a car this certain way, and, you know, like, all blackout moment means is that, okay, your brain hasn't figured out or gotten a feel yet for that particular part of the car or that particular rotation, right? So you just end up, your brain kind of just overloads or just, like, slows down a bit too much, and then, you know, you end up dropping to the ground because, well, you don't have the, your brain and your hands can't like, conjure up information quickly enough to fix your issue, which is, okay, I'm falling to the ground, okay, now I need to get back up, right? So your guys' goal should be, when you're doing aerial car control, to try and reduce and minimize those blackout moments, right? Because, I mean, while yes, it's like a bad thing that you fell, it's also not a bad thing because it means that you're learning, right? Because if you black out and you fall to the ground, you know, like these, like if this stuff happens, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling it, and then you kind of like, oh no, brain, and then you fall, right? But that's a good thing. The reason it's good is because it means that you're challenging yourself. So every time you black out and hit the ground, you know, don't feel bad. Literally all it means is that, okay, your brain and your hand, like, you know, didn't cooperate, and you're developing new neurons and you're learning every time you hit the ground and fail. And then once you fail like a lot, and I'm not gonna exaggerate, like a lot. Like literally, guys, you will do this thing I just talked about, the whatever that, right, fall to the ground. You will do that. I've literally, when I was practicing, did it thousands of times. Like, so many times that I lost count. Okay? Thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000. Who knows? Alright? But, like, that's going to happen again and again and again and again. Over and over and over. Right? That. Where you fall down the ground, you're like, okay, right? And your hands and your brain just are like, no. You know, I don't know what to do there, right? But just letting you guys know, when you start this process, like, that is normal, and you're going to do it a lot. But that's good, because it means you're learning. So if I haven't said it before, guys, you will not learn aerial car control in one day. It's just not going to happen. You can practice it. That you can do. That you can guarantee. You can practice it. But you will not learn this stuff in one day. It's lots and lots of practice, okay? You can always practice better, and that's the point of this video, is I'm going to help you practice and help it so you can learn it faster. But just understand that this is a process, and like all those blackout moments and all that stuff I just showed you, it's a process, right? So for when you guys want to give up later, which I will completely understand because it's hard, right? Just remember, it's a process. You cannot learn this in one day. It took me multiple hours of constant practice to get this as good as I have it, all right? And I would even go as far to say as some people are at different stages in their journey than others, but the point is that we're just here to learn and, you know, trying to show you how to practice these. Alright, you guys, so I've moved myself over here to the pillars map. I'm trying to be efficient here and like show you guys as many drills as I can while also progressing the explanation at the same time so that, you know, trying to save you guys time. But so just real quick here, guys, a third drill you can try that doesn't involve workshop maps is that you can use the pillars map here, right? And you can kind of go in a, what's it called, a figure 8 shape around these big pillars, and you know that's a really good way to practice your car control. Like I highly recommend this, and I think even Musty, like he has a video somewhere. I'll probably try to link it down if I can, but you know, basically though, you go on the pillars map here in free play, whatever. Load up this as your free play map, and you can use this to go in like figure 8 motions, right? And just another good drill you can use that isn't a workshop map. Okay, so from now on, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna start breaking down aerial car control into all of its different components, and just try to explain it in a way that hopefully everyone can understand. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna jump here, right? Bang, there we go. I'm airborne, right? Okay, so pretty much like once you're in the air like this, you've started. This is aerial car control at its finest, right? We've started. Once you're in the air and you're boosting like that, there you go. You're controlling the car in the air. That's it, right? But let me explain. So let's look at aerial car control and break into pieces, okay? I'm gonna call this non-air roll, okay? So this is when you're like using only two things. You're using the left stick and boost, okay? You're not using any arrow buttons or nothing. You're just using boost and your left stick, okay? To control the car, right? Right. So as I move around the map, right, and I see different parts of the car, let me try and go around the map here, right? Or whatever, right? Here we go, right? So this is, I would say, just the first thing you should try is just doing this, where you try and control the car using only your stick and your boost, okay? Nothing extra, this is it, alright? And, you know, I'm just using this map for an example, right? The pillars map here, right? As an example, right? But, like I said, so number one is non-air roll, okay? So this is, and like I said, if I haven't said it before, aerial car control, there's so many different forms of it, of like how you could go ahead and keep your car in the air, spin, do a bunch of things, right? But just for the basics for now, all right, we're just gonna focus on non-air roll and not using any air roll whatsoever, right? And learning to control the car with just the stick and the boost. Okay, so formation number 2. So once you move on from non-air roll, right, I would say the next step is air roll. Okay, so after whatever, right? So you got this, the whatever, stick air roll, this thing, like no air roll, right? But now we're gonna move on. Here we go. Now we're gonna add, all right, okay, see what we can do here with air roll, right? Okay, so you can control the car with air roll, right? So this is normal air roll. This is not tornado spins. This is just my, whatever my normal air roll button is, which is L1, right? So you can control the car this way, right? There's another form of control, really good to practice these for like micro adjustments in the air, so you can like shoot the ball in a particular way. So like, let's say I'm going for an aerial, bang, and then I want to hit aerial and turn my car a little bit. You know, I could do it that way, but again, it's all fluid stuff. You know, there's not really any rules per se with aerial car control. It's just kind of whatever feels right? But you know, you could use, like I said, these spins, or just just air roll. All right, air roll, right? Air roll to the left, air roll to the right. Spin while you air roll. Do it both ways, or do it half, like these, right? So these types of things, yeah, wah wah wah, right? You know, just getting really fluid with those micro adjustments, right? Being able to control both sides even while holding the button, right? Just getting a feel for that. All right, and then the third formation that you guys can practice here is, to my knowledge, is arrow right, or some people call them tornado spins, whatever you want to call it, right? But if you want a tornado spin, you have to use either arrow right or arrow left, whichever one you're comfortable with. And if you're to ask me, hey, which one should I practice? Should I practice arrow right or arrow left? The honest truth is it's preference, okay? Just choose, like, if you're gonna practice one of these, right? Just choose whichever one feels more natural to you in the beginning. All right? There's no better one really. It's just a matter of, okay, I'm more comfortable with this one versus this one. I'm gonna try and practice that one because I find it more comfortable, right? Right. So if you're gonna ask me personally, I'm more of an arrow right kind of guy, but I know people like Spook Luke, or just, you know, there's tons of other people though that like arrow left much better, and that's perfectly fine. That's completely valid. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, pretty much, you know, with the arrow right or arrow left, whichever one you use, right? So this one is probably the hardest one, if I'm being honest, right? Because you're trying to control the car while it's already spinning, and once you move the stick, even a little bit, you start to get one of these, right? Like that, or like this. There we go, right? These types of motions. And these are really hard to control, obviously, but once you get really comfortable, you can definitely get a lot of benefits out of it in game, especially for air dribbles, slippery sets, whatever, right? But still, this is just another form of car control, right? So my advice for now is that I would try not to skip straight to arrow right. Like, I feel like that might be a bit overwhelming if you're just starting out. But if you guys ever get around to it, do definitely practice your tornado spins or arrow right, left, whatever it is, right? And definitely work on it when you get a chance, right? Because there is a lot of benefits to it, I feel. And I use it for a lot of things like air dribbles, flip resets, whatever. So definitely don't skip out on it once you get around to it. But just when you're starting out, don't do this right away, because this is probably going to be way too much information. And you probably won't get anywhere. Alrighty, guys. So my tip for you guys is that when you are starting out with air car control, I would do it maybe kind of in that order of the ones I showed you. Like, okay, start with stick, and then go to, normal air roll, and then go to, spins, maybe. But it really doesn't matter which one you start with, just as that you start doing the stuff, right? And another thing, guys, is I wouldn't like try to tell you that one air roll or one type of car control is better than the other, because really at the end of the day, your goal should not be like, oh, which one, like pick and choose. It should just be, okay, at the end of the day, I want to control my car how I want to, right? So whatever that looks like to you, just do whatever you feel is like helping you reach your goal of making it so that you can control the car how you want to, okay? But just for reference, guys, I use like pretty much all of these different air rolls for different purposes. And they help shape me as a player, so like I wouldn't like skip anything, because I feel like all these different types of air rolls, or just all this different type of aerial car control stuff, like once it all adds up and you put in the work, like it's gonna show. And like I said, you use different types of air rolls for different types of situations, but just having the comfort of knowing like, hey, I could do X thing to do Y whenever I want to is just a great feeling, okay? Okay, so for this next section, I'm going to just talk about each individual type of control that I mentioned just now, and kind of give you guys some tips on how I like to think about them or approach them, right? And like I said, they're all useful, in my opinion. They're all very useful for different things, okay? Okay, so I'm going to go here, right? Let's start with stick, right? Stick or non-arrow, whatever you want to call it, right? So I'm going to go ahead, try and go some figure eights here, right? So the thing you guys need to understand, like especially for non-air roll or this one, right, is that as you go around and go around the field, right, the car eventually is gonna end up turning, right? So you're eventually gonna go from different sides of the box. You're gonna see different sides of it, right? So you see the top side, and as you move a little bit more, you'll see a bit more of the side, right? Right, and then eventually you'll start to see the bottom again, right? But that's about it. So bottom, side, and then top, right? That's kind of just a very general, like, generalization of non-arrow, right? Or just a stick, right? So you're going to be seeing different sides of it, but like 3 different sides mainly, right? And as your car moves around, you're going to have to change your stick movement quite a bit. So where I might have to do my stick a certain way, like that, right? The second I turn it backwards or sideways, right? The same movements are going to invert, do different things, and change. It's just going to be really difficult, right? But if you guys can get really good at like getting comfortable no matter what side the car's on, whether it's the side, the bottom, or the top, right? And you can just get comfortable, right, with that, then that's good. That's great, right? Right. Okay, I'm going to just do one loop doing non-arrow real quick. Alright, there we go. Alright, you guys, so the second one here is air roll. So, oh, that's not the right one. This is the one. There we go. Right, so now we're trying to focus on controlling it when we have air roll on, right? So the beauty of air roll and all that, right, is that we're just able to like turn our car quickly. We're like, okay, if you're in non-air roll, right, which is a good transition into your normal air roll, right? So it's like, okay, I'm here. Okay, this is super awkward. Now I want to turn my car, right? So air roll allows you to just do quick micro adjustments. So you'll just be like there, and then be like, turn like that. There we go. Turn, 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 right? Turn again. Do a full 360. You know, do whatever you want, right? But you can turn the car and micro just a bit, right? Right. But if you guys want like my advice on how I got good at both sides or just more comfortable with it, right? Is what I would do is when I first started out is I would just kind of like choose a side and I would just spin on one side. So what I would do is I just kind of like hold it to the right or the left and I would just try and control this, okay? Which I'll be honest with you was very hard in the beginning. Granted, this is all difficult in the beginning, but you know, this is kind of how I practice these, is I would just choose one side to practice, and I would just do that until I was, like, really comfortable with it, right? Okay, right, so I'm going to do a quick arrow right. Not arrow right in the channel spin terms, but the, you know, this one with your normal arrow, right? I'm just going to go into 360, or in a figure 8 here. There we go. And by the way, guys, you only need, for this particular type of control, you only need to use the right half of your stick, or the left half if you're doing arrow left, or not arrow left, the normal arrow, but pushing it to the left side of the car, right? Whatever. So right now I'm pushing it to the right side, meaning I'm gonna do these right spins, and if I pull it down, they're gonna do more like I think what they call them a cuxer twist, okay? If I pull it down a bit more, down, there we go. That's a bit more of a cuxer twist kind of thing. Yeah, like that, right? But yeah, like I said, just do a figure 8 of right, and then you can do the same thing for left as well. So let me do another one. So here we go, left. So now I'm doing it to the left, which is the same thing, just the other side. And like I said, you only need to use that left side of the stick for this type of control. At least when you're practicing, right? There's no right side, just the left hemisphere. And you can push it, like I said, all the way from the top of the stick all the way to the bottom, but just make sure that's all on the left side of the stick movement, right? Because again, like I said, your stick is a 360, it's a circle. Right, we only need the left side of the circle for this type of control, right? Right. Alright, and then pretty much, once you get non-arrow down, so like your stick movement and normal arrow, both very good, then that's like 90% of your movement, most of the time. But nowadays, like I said, arrow right is pretty prominent in the meta, and it's very useful, but I want to let you guys know right now that if you can get good at both non-arrow and just stick arrow, like with your, whatever, in my case, my L1, that you could get really far with just those. So I would say the next step here is to just switch, like use both interchangeably, both your left stick arrow and your normal arrow. So it's gonna look something like this. So I'm gonna go up, right? And I'm just gonna, you know, slowly but surely incorporate, like I said, my non-stick, and then here and there add a couple micro adjustments, right? So add a little right, add a little left, maybe even a full spin, you know. But again, if you go back to full spins, though, that's like the same thing as the other practice, so, but that would kind of defeat the purpose, right? So it's just about micro adjusting, right? So here, like, okay, this is a bit awkward, but, you know, say I want to turn to the right, or turn to the left, or do both, or whatever, right? And, you know, a little spin, yada yada, go back to the other one, right? So normal, and then spin, and then back to normal, right? Spin again, back to normal, spin again, back to normal. And then, you know, just toy with, like, how much you adjust, right? How much you spin it. Like, yeah, maybe a little spin, little spin, big spin, little spin, you know. But you guys see this where I'm basically going back and forth between my non-arrow with the stick and then slight adjustments in the air with the normal arrow, right? And then you kind of get an effect where it's like, okay, well, if I get good at this, right, now, you know, you can get comfortable with any side of the car pretty much, right? You can kind of, right, challenge yourself and just move it however you want to, and just micro adjust. Alright, you guys, so just real quick, I've gotten a little change of scenery here, but I'm going to go ahead here and make my last point and talk about arrow right in my case, and for some of you, you'll find arrow left more comfortable, but it's the same thing. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have the capacity to teach you arrow left because I'll just be straight up with you guys. I'm not comfortable with arrow left. I can't do it. I try, I fail, and you know, I really can't give you guys a lot of tips. So hopefully there's other videos out there for you guys that can help you with arrow left. But unfortunately, I'm not that guy for you. But if it comes to arrow right, I can give you a couple tips, or at least try to explain it the best I can. Okay, so what I could tell you guys with arrow right, or just tornado spins in general, right, is that what's going to happen is that as long as you know, have a somewhat center position, right, upright like that, right, and it's not, you know, and your car isn't moved too crazy like this, right, that you'll just spin in place like this, right? looks something like that, right? Right. So the difficult thing with arrow right or arrow left, whichever one it is, right, is that once you start pushing to one side, so unlike your normal arrow, right, where it'll just stay consistent, kind of like it was before. So like here, right, I'm doing this manually, but if I switch to arrow right, it'll do that bit for me, right? But now, once you start adding a stick to the left or the right, now it's going to do these types of motions. So I'm going to push it to the right. So on arrow right, push it to the right. All right, now I'm going to get one of these. I'm going to call it a bowl. I don't know why I want to call it a bowl, but, you know, the motion you're making is like a bowl shape, right? Over your car. It's like you're kind of like, you know, it's kind of like you're spinning inside of a glass cup, right? Sort of ideal, right? So this is kind of like the one extreme that you kind of have to work through, right? Is that side. So you have to kind of figure out how to control this bit where it's like, okay, now my car is doing this weird, you know, like it's spinning glass kind of thing. And then once you stop, it'll do that again, back to resting. So back to resting position. And then now if I push it to the left, it's going to do something a little different. It's going to look like this. So it's kind of like an inverted version of the other one, right? Alright, so the real magic with arrow right or arrow left, whichever one you prefer, right? So the crazy thing is that unlike my normal arrow, right? If I hold it to the right, it's only going to go to the right, you know what I mean? And that's all I need to control it if I'm going to do it that way, right? So I want to go through the ring like this, right? And I want to, you know, just push to the one side. You know, I can get through the map doing just that, right? Just holding on one side. However, if you're going to use tornado spins of any kind, you have to use both sides of the stick. So instead of just using one side or, you know what I mean? So what's going to end up happening here is that when you try and go for tornado spins and stuff, right? You're going to find yourself when you need to turn and that sort of thing, that you kind of have to like switch between the two. So you go like from the right side like that and then back to the left. And then you kind of, when I do this stuff anyways, you're kind of switching back and forth. So you go like little right and then left, right, left, right, left. So if you want to like go in a particular line, in any case, you want to go like right, left, right, left. Let me go back here. Let me try and show a little better, but like, you know what I mean? So you go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. You go back and forth like that, right? And then you actually end up, because you do that, you actually end up straightening out when you go back and forth, right? Like that. It's kind of weird, right? But you'll end up, because you keep going back and forth like that, you actually end up straightening out. It's kind of crazy. So pretty much the art when it comes to, you know, this type of thing is just learning how to slow down, speed up, you know, change directions and that, all that sort of thing. The way you want to with arrow right or even any of the other arrows is that you're just like, okay, I want to either slow down, go faster, you know, go that way, go left, go right, go backwards. Like, you know, it's super hard stuff, but you know, that's why practice is how we get there. But yeah, so just for your guys' information, if you guys want to know, number one, how did I get good at aerial car control? And number two, how do I get good at tornado spins in particular? So number one, how did I get good at them? The answer to number one is custom workshop maps. All right, I hate to say it, but custom workshop maps are amazing. Okay, they literally are like super soldier training. That's how I like to put them. And they really push your limits. So if you ask me as an anecdote of how I got good at aerial car control, custom workshop maps were the answer. It's just using these maps really helped grind it out. Those fails, you know, I had to fail a bunch of times, right? And these maps are designed for you to fail fast, right? So that's kind of how I personally got really good at these. And so basically here, guys, I just want to basically say that my favorite, like I have a couple favorite maps for aerial car control. You know, Lethamyr's Ice Rings, this one I'm playing right now, this is easily one of my favorite maps that I feel like really helped me out, right? And now after lots of practice, right? I almost tornado spin all the time now. Like even in game, I do it like over and over again, and I can even, if I want to, I've tested it, I can beat this map in about 15 minutes, which in my opinion is pretty cool. Like the fact that I'm so smooth, I can beat this map in 15 minutes, you know, like tops. Maybe I could even do it faster than 15 minutes, but you know, but that's all I'm gonna say is that when it comes to this map, Lethamyr's Ice Rings, I highly recommend it. It's how I got good at aerial car control, helped push me a ton, and even taught me arrow right. And now I can do this kind of stuff where I just spin through the rings and I can really control my car very well, like to the point where I'm very much satisfied with it. and I just feel like my control, you know, from playing all these maps and just playing a bunch, has really helped push me and get where I wanted to be with my air car control. Alright, just real quick here, guys. I've got a couple of maps here that I have on my Bacchus mod here, but I'm just showing you guys, besides the ice map by Lethamyr, I think it's called Giant Rings by Lethamyr, but besides that map, my other couple favorite maps to play are either like some of these speed jump rings, which in my opinion nowadays the speed jump rings are a little too easy for me, but they shouldn't be that easy for you guys if you're just starting out. And then I love these speed jump maps, like every single one, but especially speed jump 1. That's probably one of my favorite maps that I used to play. But yeah, speed jump and maybe a couple speed jump rings. I love all those maps. Those are all good maps for practicing. So yeah, pretty much what I would do is I would just go around this map and I would just kind of just pick out like an air roll or any kind of form of control. It could be either non-air roll, right? Go through the whole map doing it that way, or do the whole map doing arrow right, or not arrow right, but normal arrow to the right, you know, or all to the left, or, you know, just stuff like that, right? And I just love playing this map, and, you know, getting my practice in that way. And again, if I didn't say it before, it's all about failing faster, right? And that's why I love these maps, because they help you fail faster, get more attempts in, and then, you know, you just learn quicker because of that, right? Right. But I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. Like once you get really good at aero car control, which by the way, like I said, it takes a long time. It's very satisfying. It is extremely satisfying. And not only is it satisfying, it also like elevates your game like to a whole new level, right? But yeah, I'll say that, you know, just this stuff, it does take time. I grind these maps like crazy, but if you do put the time in to work on your aero car control, it's gonna show up in all the parts of your game, I promise. So like pretty much like everything, like all the basics, like fast aerialing, double taps, redirects, you know, it just aero car control, I'm telling you guys right now, you will literally improve significantly if you get better at it, I promise. Okay, so just to wrap up the video here, guys, like I'm just telling you guys now, like if you are able to put in the practice, right, and you can like have the liberty to control the car however you want, whenever you want, I'm telling you guys, it changes the game forever. So, you know, when I get a ball like this and, you know, I don't have to actually think about what I'm doing and it's just natural for me, it's a good feeling. Like, I don't know, guys, it's just like for this shot too, right? Like, I know I'm gonna have to be in the air for this, I know, right? And as you get into higher levels, you will be in the air like constantly. So like by working on your aero car control and getting it down really well, it's just gonna set you up for the rest of the game for the rest of every rank ever, because you will be in the air all the time. So if you get good at it now rather than later, it's just a fact that you're gonna be a happy camper later, because you'll just have the freedom and you won't have to think about it. Alright, you guys, that'll be it for the video. I apologize if that was a very long video, but it's just a hard topic. I hope you guys found that helpful. If you did, let me know down in the comments. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.